Good evening and welcome everyone to the UBI Awards ceremony for the African incubation landscape. We're here at the UBI Global headquarters in not so beautiful Stockholm, Sweden today, but you're more than welcome at this live web broadcast where we're going to give recognition to the best university business incubator from Africa. My name is Ali Amin and I am the CEO and co-founder of UBI Global. UBI Global, we try to help university business incubators to become more competitive and efficient with the world's most comprehensive benchmark. Today I have the honor to give recognition to those 3 high-impact incubation programs that have made an amazing job in the UBI Global benchmark of 2015. These 3 high-impact incubation programs are all represented from the great continent of Africa, and it's going to be a delight to show them to you who they are. But before we go ahead of going to the award ceremony, we want to give you some context, some background. So here are some insights from the African incubation landscape of 2015. So let's start with the context then, and we begin with the global sample of 2015. In this year's edition of the UBI Global Benchmark, we had more than 500 incubation programs apply from 63 countries in 6 geographic regions. Those 500 were assessed among 1,200 business incubators across the continent. But finally, 340 of them finalized all the steps and participated and got benchmarked by UBI Global 2015. And as you see in the geographical spread, we have 6% of them representing from the African continent. The 2 most dominant regions in terms of incubation participation comes from Europe and from Latin America. When we look at the sector spread, a lot of these incubators are focusing on in the ICT sector, and another big dominant is something what we call non-specialized, which can be a mixed use of many. This year we also have a new category called social innovation, where incubators have client startups trying to work with social impact, but also building their companies. Another aspect which is quite interesting is to look at in terms of the client startups. When are they being incubated? And that is what we call with the stages and phases. And it's quite evenly spread. Client startups at university business incubators are being incubated when they are in the idea phase, in the early phase, in the growth and acceleration phase, where most of them are in the idea and early. Some incubators, as you all know, are focusing on certain stages, but many of the incubators try to help the client startups throughout the whole journey. So let's move along and look at the African sample instead. This year we had 20 incubators and accelerators participating from Africa, which represented of that 6%. All of them are non-for-profit programs, and the average budget throughout these incubators are around 340 or 335,000 US dollars. Some seed fund also available on an average $96,000. If we look at the sector spread of the African incubators, ICT and non-specialized again are the 2 dominant one. And in terms of the stage, they seem to follow the global trend. One thing that UBI does when it comes to benchmarking university business incubators is that we look at what type of relationship they have with the university. Are the incubators managed by the university, or are they formally affiliated, or do they work closely with them, as we call non-affiliation? From the African sample, 15% are managed by university, but the most dominant one are the university affiliated one in the category 2. Around 55% of them are in that bucket. It's also interesting in terms of the client startups. How are they enrolled? How are they being helped? And this is quite a really nice trend, and not only Africa but also globally. But throughout these 20 incubators in Africa, 64% of the client startups are physically based in the incubation program, while 36% are virtually enrolled, meaning that these incubators have found alternative ways to help their client startups and to provide those important services that university business incubators are doing. And it's going to be interesting for us to follow if this is a trend over time as well, where perhaps more virtual enrolled client startups are going to happen with the new technology being developed. At the incubators, where are they located? Well, 50% of them are in urban cities, but we also have around 38% in semi-urban. 12% in our sample comes from rural areas, and we've also asked if there's something in between others, which could be that virtual incubation program, but it was a quite small size. So urban areas in urban cities, university business incubation are represented in Africa this year, and we will see how that will evolve over time. We also want to figure out when these incubators were founded. And the oldest incubator that we have in our sample was founded back in 1971 and still up and running. And we're really proud to have them on board and still see that they're alive and kicking. But many of these incubators that has been participating in this year's UBI benchmark are quite new ones. We have 8 of them in the past, 8 to 10 of them in the past 5 years, meaning that business incubation and acceleration is getting a boost. It's a kind of a new phenomena that pops up all over the world and in the African case as well. One thing we ask the university business incubators in our benchmark is in terms of their full-time employees. How many do they have? How many does it require to run the program? And this is quite interesting later on to correlate with number of companies that they help. So we asked them, and around 40% out there have about 6 to 10 full-time equivalent employees. And some of them have up till 5. But it's quite unusual that you have more than 10 employees when it comes to running your incubation program. So let's correlate that and see that how many client startups on average are being helped. When we look at African incubators, they tend to help dominantly between 11 and 20 client startups, or 6 to 10. It's quite unusual that you have more than 20 or higher than 40 programs. And as you see, if we go back and look at the full-time employee equivalent, it seems that you have around 4 companies per 4 client companies per full-time employee. Which seems to be a good number to take a look at. And those were the insights that we have from the African incubation landscape for this time. If you guys would like to know more, if you guys would like to dig down into the data, UBI always offers our global benchmark report, which is available on our website. And you know, guys, we've come to that part at this event where we're going to step into the UBI Awards ceremony. But before we do that, we want to show you a short animation video how UBI goes from a research framework to global rankings. Please enjoy. I would like to say thank you to our Director of Operations, Anne Ngoen Johansson, for making that animation available. Thanks, Anne. As you all saw, we have a high impact incubation program, a category that we're going to announce, which is a combination of University Business Incubator, University Associated Business Incubator, and University Business Accelerator. All of these awardees are shortlisted for the UBI Global World Rankings that are going to take place on November 25th in London, UK, and then a third category on December 15 in Stockholm, Sweden. I would like to read out the motivation again for the high impact incubation programs that we are going to give recognition today in Africa. In terms of UBI perspective, a high impact incubation program is a successful business incubator or accelerator that is managed, affiliated, or associated with a university that has high impact on its ecosystem and provides higher value to their startup clients than their regional or global peers. They stand out from average performing incubation programs with better outcomes on economy enhancement, access to funds, and post-incubation performance indicators. We are today going to give recognition to 3 high-impact incubation program 2015 from the African continent. The following 3 comes in alphabetic order and are not being ranked in specifically order. We're going to go and announce the first one, which was founded 2011 from Nairobi, Kenya, at the University of Nairobi, the MLab East Africa.
Jambo! This is the MLab East Africa team, and we are honored and happy to be recognized among the top performing incubators in Africa by UBI Global. At MLab East Africa, we identify, nurture, and support startups. Asante!
We congratulate MLab for a great performance in the 2015 UBI Global Benchmark and Rankings. The second high-impact incubation program from Africa. Founded 2007 from Abeokuta, Nigeria, at the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, the Technology Incubation Center. Congratulations, Technology Incubation Center, for your great performance in the UBI Global Benchmark and Rankings of 2015. Last but not least, again in alphabetic order, High Impact Incubation Program of 2015 from Africa, founded 2004 in several locations such as Nelspruit, Komati-Port, Lydenburg, Mpumalanga, Musina, Limpopo in South Africa, in collaboration with the University of Stellenbosch, the Timbali Technology Incubator.
Bali would like to thank UBI Global for awarding us as one of the top performing incubators globally after a benchmark against 330 incubators. I'd like to thank the Timbali board and the team for their excellent work in making the incubator relevant, in creating value for our clients and specifically to young women and youths. Thank you.
Congratulations on your great performance in the UBI Global Benchmark and Rankings 2015 Timbali. And here is the list of all 3 high-impact incubation programs from Africa in the UBI Global Benchmark and Rankings of 2015. Big congratulations to MLab East Africa, Technology Incubation Center, and Timbali Technology Incubator. You all have made an amazing effort and performance in this year's UBI Global Benchmark. Folks, we're almost done with this live web broadcast, but we have two short announcements to make. The first one is an important date for all of you to remember, which is on November 25th, UBI Global are going to London, UK, sending live from Trafalgar Square and give recognition of the University Business Incubator World Rankings of 2015, but also the best university business accelerators in terms of the world rankings of 2015. It's going to be an amazing hour, and we hope that you can tune in and follow the excitement. 3 weeks after, we're going to do the same thing, but in a little bit smaller scale, here from Stockholm, Sweden, where on December 15, we're going to give recognition and have our University Associated Business Incubator announcement. All of these announcements have the time hour of 5 o'clock GMT, London time, and we hope that you follow us and share the celebration of all of these great incubation programs worldwide. With that said, I would like to thank you all for tuning in today, and don't forget to support your local incubation program out there and celebrate their successes. My name is Ali Amin, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of UBI Global. And from Stockholm, Sweden, we would like to say thank you and good night.